Hi, everybody, and thank you for subscribing to my YouTube channel. And if you just happen to find me from scrolling around, you like what you've seen here, I hope you'll help me out and hit that subscribe button. So, we have any number of, I guess, pundits and independent people out there giving information about Trump, and sometimes we don't know who to listen to. Um, I think there's a few good rules of thumb, and they might not be 100%, but it's pretty good. And I think that we hurt ourselves and hurt our cause in past years by sort of latching onto and glomming onto anybody who was willing to criticize Trump. Um, and here's the problem with a lot of that. A lot of the people are grifters and phonies, and they ran out of road with Trump, or they put their finger in the air to see which way the wind is blowing, see what the best deal is for them. Some tried to get jobs with Trump, failed twice, and so they bank on a famous last name and they switch sides a few times. But here's the thing. If there is somebody who has been in Trump world and knew him for years and supported, say, Ted Cruz with the Cambridge Analytica money, the Mercer money, and then when they moved from Cruz to Trump, these people followed him, and then they were against Trump. So we do have that. That would be like a George Conway thing, the Conways. And he did try to get two jobs with Trump. And when it got public, he pulled out of the second one after he didn't get the first job. So these people are not stupid people who then suddenly see the light. There are people who worked in the administration. And then when they thought it was advantageous to them, they pretended like they saw the light, got out, wrote their books, got on TV. We see Michael Cohen, who did time for at least, I guess, one of his crimes, but he's sitting on a whole lot of information, a whole lot of crimes, a lot of stuff that he did. To believe that he suddenly saw the light because he seems so contrite. You know what? You don't have to do this, people. There are plenty of folks out there who, from the get-go, understood what Trump was, spoke out, gave up a lot. I'm one of them, lost a lot, and didn't pretend to see the light and then get out. Okay. And if you really think that these political operatives or legal minds uh, really were fooled by Trump and then suddenly saw the light, then I think it's a good rule of thumb to decide, well, good for them. We're glad they're with us on our side, but don't give these people platform. Don't listen to them like they are experts or that they're credible, that they're strategists. They're not. They're not. Most of them did it as a career move. They always knew what he was. They just got what they could out of him or tried to get what they could out of him. And when it didn't work out, well, then they went the other way. So I think it's really important now. Well, it's always been important, but I'm going to say it now. It's important that you be careful who you trust, basically. I say, listen to everybody, but, with a jaundiced eye, if you know that they've switched sides a few times. They were either had such poor judgment, which means they still do, that they trusted or believed Trump in the first place, or they're just sort of not very good people and they knew what he was and they didn't care as long as they were getting something out of it or thought they could. It really is one or the other. It really is one situation or another. When, you work for the guy and then all of a sudden, oh gosh, now I need a book deal and a TV deal. Yeah, come on. I've been in politics and media for a really long time, decades and decades. And I know some of these folks from beforehand. They're not stupid people. They're not stupid people. Anybody making too much money from the grift, the generational wealth guys, again, be careful. Be careful. They want your money. They're pocketed a lot of it, tens of millions of dollars that could have gone to elect Democrats, and we'd still have the Democratic House majority. Right? So it is upon us. Shame, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. And some people have been fooled too many times. We are in the situation we are in, yes, because Trump is horrible. Yes, because Putin did this and Elon Musk, the whole 9 yards. But we did it to ourselves too. I say the collective we, if we bought into this, if we bought into people, well, we like them, they seem sincere. And, so what if they're grifters, blah, blah, blah. Come on. We have to be smarter. We're not going to save this country, and it might be too late, but we're not going to get where we need to be until we get smart about that. And I mean that very seriously. Stop needing to be entertained. Look at what people have done in the past and how they arrived at their anti-Trump position. How many flip-flopping situations did they have? Smart people don't flip-flop. Some of us knew from the beginning. I mean, I made my first public comments against Trump with the John McCain POW stuff. I didn't put my finger in the air to see which way the wind was blowing. And he's attacked me. I was catfished, hacked, dumped from TV, all of that. I left the party the day after they nominated him. And I'm a former RNC spokesperson. I've always been, I guess, what they now call a rhino. There are people who are the real deal. And there's lots of us, frankly. You don't have to glom onto the grifters and the people that pretend they didn't know any better. And if they didn't know any better, then these aren't people you should be listening to anyway. Again, welcome them to our side, but get to the back of the line, guys. We have to be smarter. The fact that we haven't been smarter, that many of us have not been smarter, many of you have not been smarter, is why we are here. Even if someone sounds really smart, but they were defending Merrick Garland, there was a certain point in time where, okay, it made sense. Reasonable people gave him the benefit of the doubt until it got to the point where we knew something was wrong here. And then when you see people who made their fame and fortune defending him, really beating us up. Oh, he's just dotting the I's and crossing the T's. No, he wasn't. And actual smart people knew that there was something very, very wrong with Merrick Garland. And there were many of us warning you to be careful the people that seemed a little bit too eager to defend him. Like, why would you want to die on this hill? Well, if you're making fame and fortune on it, if that was your calling card, some of these people no one ever heard of before all of this. It's not like they were longtime federal prosecutors or had done this sort of thing or were lawyers or anything. They found their wave. They caught a wave and they were riding it. Merrick Garland is, again, a big reason why we were here. And for too many people wanting so much to believe that he was really on the case, he wasn't. He wasn't even going to tell us that Trump stole documents, top secret classified documents, was storing them in Mar-a-Lago. Remember? In the archives, when they were telling him, you got to do something, he was the one fighting, going in there on the raid. He finally had to. And remember, we did not find out that this even took place or that this crimes and treason had occurred. It was Trump who told us about the raid. And he was given advance notice. He even had it all on camera. Trump is the one who told us. We could still be sitting here today never knowing that Trump stole those documents from us and very likely gave and sold them to Putin and our other enemies and adversaries around the world. And we may be beyond repair at this point. Our country might not be able to be saved. So let's be grown-ups about this, shall we? It is up to us to be very, very discerning about who we trust and who we listen to. And in this era, if there is credible evidence about a certain thing, pay attention. And if people say, oh, now we just sound like QAnon. That's just, tinfoil hat conspiracy theories. Guys, if there are credible dots to connect in this era of Trump, you cannot write it off as conspiracy theories. It does matter who's saying it. But be real careful who you trust and who you listen to, especially now since we have a lot of independent media. And we have to rely on independent media because our own media has sold out. I kind of like, the Terry Morans and, the Jim Acostas, the people that got booted or, pushed out because they wouldn't play that game. They wouldn't bend to MAGA. They wouldn't be a Jake Tapper. Okay? Those are the people that I listen to. And on the smaller level, there's a lot of other people. Hopefully you think that I am one of them. So now that there's so much out there that we have to, good for independent media and the people that are doing their YouTubes and their Substacks and anything, the other types of their podcasts, that's great. But still, there's a lot of garbage out there. So it is more important than ever to be extra discerning about who you listen to, who you trust, who you give your time and energy and subscriptions to, who's going to fill your heads with information versus people who, and sometimes some of these people might be right on some things, but it's about, what about when they aren't? What about when their next grifting opportunity comes into play? Okay. Check out their backgrounds very carefully and how they got to the point where they're anti-Trump. It does matter. It does matter. And there are a lot of really good, solid former Republicans who from the get-go were anti-Trump. And I know a lot of good, smart people, maybe they aren't so good, who went with the Trump party line at first. They didn't support him in the primary, but he became the nominee. Some of these people told me, they're like, Sherry, the party all pull together. He's going to lose in the fall. We'll pull together and everything goes back to normal. I was out already because I never wanted to sit at a table in a strategy meeting at a White House or on Capitol Hill or a lobbying office downtown ever again with these people if they were willing to even pretend to support Trump as a nominee. And then, of course, Trump won. Some people held off until Trump won before they got on the bandwagon because, again, Trump did not have the establishment Republicans on his side. That's not how he became the nominee. But they all got in line, as I've said before, to preserve their position as a cog in the wheel. Their lobbying gigs, their TV gigs, their little Republican Women's Club of Loudoun County, their monthly, whatever it was. They wanted to pretend that it was business as usual, and this was just some other Republican president. Some of them, the higher level people were on TV for a while as Republican strategists, kind of MAGA. And then even they couldn't do it. I think they thought this era wouldn't last very long. So I've noticed a lot of those people, they're still Republican lobbyists and public affairs people and that sort of thing, but less partisan, and they don't put themselves out there anymore. They're not on social media defending MAGA. They've just sort of faded away because they have enough of a conscience where they can't do this forever. Anyway, I think we're at a point now where we know that we have to be discerning. So I just want to hit that point home. We do have to rely on the independent media that you can find on your own. So I don't mean to lecture you. It's just, this is our survival now. You have to be smarter. You have to be smarter. It is so important to, be smart. And if you have the least little bit of doubt, look at their background. How and when did they turn against Trump, or were they with Merrick Garland too long? It's so important. And look at their real backgrounds. I mean, somebody with a law degree who's never been in a courtroom, who's never been a former federal prosecutor or worked in an AG's office or district attorney or anything, probably should not be considered an expert on TV, giving that type of analysis, particularly if they flip-flopped a few times on Trump. Famous last names and having lots of Twitter followers and having clever tweets should not be enough. Okay? There are people out there who have devoted their lives and their careers to this type of work and probably gave up potential big salaries to do it. Glenn Kirshner is the real deal. Obviously, look at his background, former federal prosecutor. These are the people to listen to. So be careful that you don't fall in love with these media personalities, because this is serious as a heart attack now. And it is up to us, because again, we have no one to blame for that other than ourselves for being in this position. We could have taken care of this and we didn't. So let's do better, shall we? Thank you.